Welcome in, everyone, to the Challenge After Show. Tonight, Pamela and I are talking about the challenge, Battle for a New Champion, Season 39. So Flip-Floppy is the name of episode 7. And they said it about 100 times, so I know why. And you know what? Everyone on this damn show is so flip-floppy. So let's make it Corey, though. Let's blame it on Corey, even though everybody, I have so many things to say. But you know what? Overall, I enjoyed this episode, actually. And I liked the way they set everything up. You know, I always complain about that, but look, we're talking about it right now, Pam. I thought they did a very nice job setting up all the different little things we were about to see throughout the hour and a half episode. So
I am going to agree with you. I really enjoyed it. At some point, I was like, oh, well, it's got to be over now, and they're not going to have an elimination this round. And I looked and it was like halfway through. So I think it was a little long, perhaps, just because there was a lot going on in this, but I liked it. It was good that there was a lot going on, at least that they made full stories of it. Potentially maybe a little too long for my liking, but
what, the entire episode or the elimination?
The entire episode. The entire episode. I was like,
I would, Pamela, that's an every week thing for me. I would love if they just tightened it up and did a 1 hour episode. It just feels like it's just, moving so much at a heightened and better pace. But that's
so it's not that this is the first time I really felt it like, oh, we're only here. But that doesn't mean not to say that I was like bored or anything. I wasn't. I just thought, surely it's been longer than this. So much has gone on already. And then it was like, no. So again, it was action packed. It's not like it wasn't.
I fast forward all the commercials. And what I've noticed, you can't, right? So what I've noticed, Pam, that's a problem, right? But what I've noticed is they do long chunks of like the episode at the beginning, and then they put a commercial and another long chunk, and then you're like, wait, am I even close to done? No. But then at the end, it's like every 5 minutes commercial. They hammer all these commercials in at the end, and it kind of, they dice it up real weird.
Take away your momentum. So mine is pretty evenly paced commercial. It's literally, you see like commercial. I think it's might be the way it is on live TV, because I watch it through the MTV, and I remember when I used to watch it for real MTV on cable, it was the same thing. When we would watch it live, the show on the bottom. I don't
know. I mean, I'm watching it through MTV as well on the Hulu app. I have live TV on Hulu, but I have live TV on Hulu. So,
but you've live TV on Hulu, so you're allowed to fast forward. I have the MTV app on my Roku.
Yeah.
So I can't anyway.
Right, and I just watch it the next morning. I don't watch it live at night.
I watch it the next morning too, but I can't fast forward. What doesn't let you fast forward through the commercials on mine? Right. So they were long, and they're like 5 to whatever minutes, and then I like get involved in Wordle, and then I'm like, oh, all right, back into the challenge. So
my goodness, it's hard, Pamela.
it's hard, yeah. So a lot was going on. I did think that they did a good job now that there's so much more going on and it is less obvious. They are doing a better job of not just like the 2 people you see talking at first are the 2 people that are going to go into the elimination. So did you get stumped today? I thought about you with this.
Luckily I didn't see anything ahead of time. I had 0 spoilers. So I went in there not knowing a single thing that was about to go down. They did. I thought they did a great job. They start off showing like all the different couples that are hooking up. So then I'm like, okay, it could be any of these people in theory. Then they do a sit down with Berna and Horacio where they're talking about how they need, he's afraid to be vocal and work on his game. And I'm like, there's no way in hell he's going home this early. They got him on the cover of the damn promo.
Yeah.
I don't believe this. So I'm like, I really had no idea what was going to happen. And then they had the whole Corey thing. I thought, excellent job. I had no idea. And I think most people could feel that way going into it. Like there's nothing showing who could possibly go home tonight. And that's how I want it. I don't want to know. So, yeah.
Well, the Corey part was Corey was worried about his alliance.
Yeah.
Tell him doesn't need money, okay? He just wants to help his mom. That was he's like, listen, it's money, even if you don't need money. Like, I want to help my mom. And then Emmanuel was talking about wanting to retire his mom, like that and then he said she goes to work and then goes to clean someone's house. And I was like, all right, fine. But I was like, what is your mom 45? Like, does she need to retire now? Come on. Like
my whole thing, like, I don't know what it's a new age challenge thing, Pam. They never ever
Like,
said
give it to
what
my
they were going to do
parents.
with the money. They
Yeah.
don't, no one cared. We'd say, let's
Well,
have some
everyone
drama.
acts like I want to give back to my family. It's like, is your like Instagram career really that successful? Like everybody, it's like just admit you want the money. Like that's what I thought it was funny. That's my point. That
I'm
it's
going to
like,
read to you what I wrote
oh,
down during that conversation. I
okay,
wrote, "Oh, good, the tattoo boys are talking.
yeah,
They both want to help out their family. First time I've heard that before.
right,
Can this be unspoken, please? We would all give money to our
right.
families. Like everyone's gonna do that. Like I don't get it at this point. Like
Not fucking
I would
me.
give money to my family.
Just kidding.
I
I
would.
might, maybe, but they're fine. Like, I maybe like my
I was
sister.
gonna say my family's fine. I'd probably give
Yeah,
some money to
like
my
they're okay.
sister.
Like
She's
I
still
think I
working on
need
those
it more.
college loans.
Again, I am watching right now, Dan, the Squid Game.
Oh,
Not that
so
there,
you
of course,
did.
everyone. I'm watching the Squid Game, which I still find it so scary. For those of you who don't know, there's a show on Netflix that's called The Squid Game: The Challenge, and it's a
Didn't I recommend this to you last week?
you
Right?
did. So that's what
Okay.
I'm just recapping in case someone's tuning in because they love Devin and they wanted to see this episode or something. I have no idea of us recapping, but one, I still find it terrifying because I'm like,
It's
from the real
scary, and it's like it. I feel so nervous the whole time. I'm like, why? It's a reality show, but
nerve wracking.
yeah.
But my favorite woman was like out in the first woman, but she was the one who's like, it doesn't sound like an exciting dream, but what would it be like to pay off your house? What would it be like to pay off your car? I'm like, I hear you. Like those are now the American dream. Like that, it's just to be able to afford the things that you have would be nice. So it's not that I'm not saying I don't want to, help my family, but I do think Emmanuel in like his country is going through a little different thing with my family. Like, yeah, I would take everyone on a vacation or something. I would do something nice with my
Something like
family, but
that. Sure.
I wouldn't like retire. My mom doesn't work, so like she doesn't need to be retired. That's the. But it was just funny because I feel like he's young and his mom must be pretty young. So then I realized, oh right, aren't they from like a very like a third world country? I forget where. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Romania or something. Isn't
Romania.
he
Yeah.
Romanian? And like,
Well, look, he's on a different level than some of the American challengers. But as far as I'm concerned, everyone's going to help out their family, whether it be just a nice vacation, Pamela, or buy someone a car in your family, or literally retire them. I don't need to hear about it anymore. I get what you're going to do with the money. Like, what else would you do with it? Who's going to say, "Oh, I'm going to invest my money, Pam. I'm going to invest my money." Who's going to air that crap? Like, no one cares.
I'm gonna invest. I'm gonna get some Bitcoin. Right. Like, of course, you want to help your family. I appreciate the helping the mothers more than helping the kids, though. It's like, of course, you're gonna help your kids. What are they gonna do? Work? They can't work. They're babies. Like, oh, I want money for my kids. Like, no shit, you do. Dan, are you gonna support your kid? It's like, yeah,
you know what? She's going to be here any day now, so that will definitely be on my list. Top
Send
of the
her
list.
out. Get her an Instagram page or something. Listen,
Oh yeah.
all of these make her a baby influencer. But it is funny because Josh, when Josh cries, of course, shut up, Josh. We have to bring him up even because he won Big Brother, but he's still crying about like my parents, and it's like, well,
I know. It's like, dude, I'm pretty sure you helped them out. I think you're good,
yeah.
man. They can take it the rest of the way.
But back to, I'm not trying to be mean to anyone's mother or children. I'm just saying, we get it. You want to help your families. Like sometimes it does play on my heartstrings, and sometimes like with Emmanuel, it's a little better. But I was like Kellum being like, it's, I don't need the money. That's what I thought was funny about that. He's like, but I would want to help my mom.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Either way, they're all helping their families. Whatever.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know. Anything else in the vignettes you want to talk about before we get into working the angles, which is the challenge of the day? We see the couples hooking up. I mean, that's kind of, at least they showed a little bit of that. God, I can't wait to talk about.
I think potentially they were foreshadowing with Horacio. Like he definitely does not like to politic, and he definitely is going to need to at some point, I think. So it is interesting watching him when he has to make these decisions, but
it seems like he's learned his lesson though this episode, so I am excited to see him going forward and how vocal he's going to be at this point, because I think that's the one thing that's lacking in his five assets that we always talk about. Having a good social game. Come on, you can't. He admitted he got carried by Olivia last season, so
they were partners. I think she was just more aggressive. Like I don't think it's wrong to have. He didn't get carried. You know what I mean? I mean, socially.
He got carried socially.
The voice, or she was the face of it all. But he has a good social game in terms of he's likable and people respect it. It's not like people are going after him and he has no social game. But he definitely is going to need to be a little more decisive now that he's not in a team situation, which
Yeah.
I think he's got a decent social game because I didn't quite notice that until they brought it up today. I did
I
notice
thought, and that's weird too. I thought he was plenty vocal with Kylan. He's like, I want to put Callum in, and just Kylan and Big T, or they outvoted him. He can only do so much, but it would have been, and then they made him be the one to announce it. Of course, that TJ's like, hey, the producer's like in his ear, hey, make sure you get Horacio to be the one to have to announce it because he's whatever.
I like though the way he handled it. I like that he talked to Emmanuel and was like, "It sucks. I'm sorry. I have nothing against you, but like, I also worry that he's going to be too conciliatory. Sometimes it's like that's the game. You don't need to apologize every time you make a decision that someone.
It's just so weird to me, right? So we have him on that one side of things where he's afraid to say anything, but then they get mad. Then they get mad at other people on the show for being too snake-like and being too vocal. It's like, guys, everyone, it's a game. I don't know why, and no one can get that through their head. Like, it's a game. You're supposed to be backstabbing people. You're supposed to be lying to get what you want. You're playing for $500,000. Well, not yet because they keep losing money.
Horacio is very nice though and was trying to say, like, I didn't want to say your name. I wanted to say someone else. But again,
it's like no one can win in this game, though. Like, as far as that goes,
I can't wait though to get into the deliberation stuff. It's like, again, this episode had so much going on that it should have been a two-parter.
I have the best conspiracy for that nomination segment, by the way, and there's no way it's really going to happen, but I want it to happen so bad, but we'll get to it soon. So there's a great teaser, and I promise you, Pam, I think everyone's going to think that this conspiracy is actually a good one and not like some crazy Dan one. Like I think it's a legit. Could have been amazing if it really went down this way, but
conspiracy teaser. I'm here for it.
Yes. Working the angles. All I wrote down to start this off was thanks for the input, Colleen. This poor girl cannot get any FaceTime on this show, and when she does, she just like states the most obvious thing, and like I wrote this down. She's never going to be asked on this show again. She can't. She doesn't bring anything to the table. She can't be on this show. She doesn't say anything, Pam.
Oh, when she was on, wasn't she hooking up with Fessy? It's like the two most boring.
No, she hooked up with Nelson. No,
Nelson.
No. That was Olivia. That was Olivia, yes. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yes, Colleen had a little.
At some point.
That was the season with Fessy where he hooked up with like 3 girls. He had Michelle, he had Colleen, and he had probably somebody else. So
Amanda.
Was it Amanda?
Yes, that was like his. Oh, maybe she was.
I thought that was a different season, but
anyway,
whatever.
Colleen, I don't know. Poor Colleen. I mean, like, I don't know if it's just that she's not involved in enough drama, or if it's that she is uninteresting. But yes, the poor girl just has to recap something benign every like.
Oh my god!
It's like, and then for the Americans, we sat down. It's like, what?
I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
This working the angles, like my overall, again, I can never tell what the hell's going on in these, where I did think it was kind of a cool game or whatever concept to watch. I was like, I just wrote down the teams and then was like, I guess we'll find out at the end who fucking won, because
you know how you can tell how it's a boring challenge? When they show a flashback of James from his season and how he got the 2 black eyes from falling. That's how you had to make the episode exciting for us for this part of it. Now, mind you, I saw that and I said, damn, I should go watch this season of the Challenge UK. It looks pretty good just based on that one thing. Like, but that's how you had to make this daily challenge interesting, showing a shot from a different season. Pam, like, what are we doing here?
My only note was Olivia's poor face. Like, it scares me before we even saw James's flashback. That poor nose is fresh as a daisy. Like, she just, after that, I would be so terrified to like smack into water.
Well, my other comment, Pamela, the other thing I noticed was I didn't know that Mariah had a nose job.
Me neither.
And I thought to myself, why am I finding it more interesting to go look up what she looked like before her nose job than watch this part of the challenge?
What did she look like with her nose job?
I haven't looked it up yet. I almost was like, should I do it?
That was my other thought. And I was also like, I can't tell, and $13,000 seems really expensive to me. Maybe in my nose.
What the hell did her nose look like before then if it was $13,000?
Yeah, it was probably like half the price, probably when I was in my days when I knew people getting nose jobs, I feel like it was not $13,000. That's an expensive nose job, but
Yeah. Um,
no, I haven't kept up with the times. I don't
I'm
know. But
looking.
again, that is scary. I'm not making fun of them. I feel for them, but I feel like I would be more scared of jumping. That was pretty weak sauce of Mariah did not go, right?
Yeah.
She was the only one that like really
Yeah.
didn't do anything. And it jumping into the water is the scary part about that.
Um, you know, yeah, okay. Her nose is a little big. I found it. I think she looks just as good before her nose job. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, you're not gonna be able to see it here, but
I am
it,
I can't tell. And I'm bad. Like I had a friend in high school that was like, "Do you notice anything different about me?" And like mugging. And I was like, "Your hair's in a ponytail." I don't know. I'm bad at that kind of thing, like noticing nose jobs and stuff. Unless it,
I honestly think she looks better before. Honestly, I Mariah looks just a little off. Like she's had a little too much stuff done for my liking personally. I think she looks great without the nose job. But
I
whatever.
mean, she
Anyways,
looks great. It's a new. We've talked about this on the show too.
I know we
It's
don't
a
have to talk
thing
about it
that
again.
either you're into or you're that like style of look, and I guess the young girls today are into it, but like Nerys isn't. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
whatever. I
so yeah,
can't
I'm glad you brought up Nerys. Nerys said that having an extra person was the key to winning this competition, and that's why she was so not upset, but like, why didn't Mariah go over there and help? But then I was thinking, Pam, why do you need a third person over there? I feel like it would be too congested. Like you're trying to move these pieces around, you have all these footholes. I think if anything, not that Mariah not doing anything is disappointing because she should have helped, but at the same time, I think her going over there to help the two guys was almost like getting in the way. It's like too
I
many
agree. She
bodies
could have
over
been
there.
a checker because it seemed like this, once you got over there and were doing it, the only issue was if you had something wrong. So I feel like the fourth person could
Yeah,
have been
maybe
good.
her just standing on the opposite platform could have helped, but I wouldn't have wanted her up on the thing, even any extra body, a guy or girl. Like it just too many people moving
I
pieces around.
agree with the movers.
Pam, what if they dropped a piece? Did TJ ever say like was there a penalty for dropping a piece or just automatic
I mean, I
DQ?
think
Did they
I would guess because you have to complete like that you would lose because
right? Like I was
you
like, holy
have to
crap, what if they
complete
drop
it.
a piece and like they never brought it up, Pam? I didn't even know what to yeah.
Well, fortunately, we didn't have to deal with that. But Dan, I had a
Yeah.
strategy in this one. I was like, and I feel like Big T sort of did my strategy.
Okay.
I feel like I couldn't really tell because again, it was hard to really make out exactly what each team was doing. Colleen or someone said, I think they were saying the left to right, which would trip me up because to me, when there's three, there is no left and right. To me, it was like, well, there's a top color and then a left and right. I would just name the top color because there's only three colors. So that was
That's
my.
what I thought, but that's what they were doing that majority of the time.
It
They'd
seems
say
like Big T was. A lot of them were yelling like yellow, red, blue, red. Yeah, we're
yeah,
yelling
yeah.
the whole
No, I
thing.
think that
Like,
was
just say one
100%.
thing.
100% the key, Pam. You nailed it. Just do the top color.
Yay.
It's only a
Just say the
triangle.
top color.
It's a
And then
triangle.
Verna was getting the shape of the triangle wrong, which it sounds like
No,
what a moron, but could make
no.
sense.
She
Why? How
put the triangle in the wrong hole. There was a black hole for your footing, and there was a white hole for the piece. She put them in the black hole. That's where your feet were
Listen,
supposed to go.
MTV challenge, make your holes more distinguishable because we've
They did. They
seen.
put a white circle around it, Pamela.
Okay, well then Bernie, you're an idiot. I don't know, but it's like with the it shouldn't be that unobvious where the piece goes and where your foot goes. I would assume that those would be obvious different holes. I guess that's why everyone was acting like she was an idiot because maybe it was obvious
Yeah.
to everybody else.
I mean, I'll say this: like, I was like pumped that they had a rope swing. I love a good rope swing. I grew up on a lake, as you know, and we had a rope swing. We had multiple rope swings going into the water at around my house and everything, and we
Up on
absolutely
a
loved it.
lake.
But the problem with this rope swing, Pamela, is in order to have a good rope swing, you need to have momentum. And this pyramid, they didn't allow them to have any good momentum at all. We saw people try to kick off the pyramid to the other side, but the other key is to swing on the lower part so you can get a longer pull
Yes.
on that rope. And it just didn't make for a good rope swing, unfortunately. And people definitely struggle. We saw Olivia struggle for sure.
I'm actually impressed that no one like fell off or didn't make it on. And that's another time where I think the advantage definitely came from going later. Like, I don't know if this was editing or what, or if they were really allowed to watch everyone, which obviously were, because Kylan remarked about Jay crawling across like a spider monkey, which he definitely did.
Yeah.
But it was Olivia's sort of trial and error that you realize you have no momentum and like the guy's gonna have to grab the girl on, because otherwise how are you gonna get yourself onto that? So and they had to learn from her being like, what am I gonna do, clasp onto it suction style, like which is a lesson learned in real time for that team. So I feel like there was a definite advantage of going later, which they didn't really address.
Isn't it always? Isn't it's majority of the time it is always an advantage to go.
It is, but especially in something like this where it's like, okay, you need to like you're gonna have to send across a guy. They're gonna have to grab the girl. These kind of height puzzles, I feel like more than other things, you can learn some time saving, tricks that if everybody's doing that one thing, you don't know what it's like to swing across a rope swing to a pyramid in the sky, probably, unless you've done
what do you think the harder job was the harder job going across on the rope swing and then having to put the pieces properly in where the other person's telling you are, or staying on the original pyramid and just yelling across going down the pyramid there? What's the harder job in this
I think getting across the pyramid is the hardest for me. Like thinking about it, I'm like, that's the most unpleasant, because you're adding another scary element to
couldn't
something.
Couldn't agree with you more, because you're not only adding the rope swing element, Pamela, you're also adding, I have to climb across this pyramid, grab pieces around the pyramid, and then, hand them to someone else to put them in the proper spot without dropping a piece. I can't get over the fact that if they drop the piece, I'm pretty sure it's an automatic DQ. Or you can go stand on the same pyramid you already on. You don't and just stand there and just yell what the pieces are in front of you. I mean, I just feel like that's like the easier job, personally.
Yes, so. This was definitely it was harder to be doing the like rock climbing piece putting was
I would think right. I was just
and getting it right, because you hear wrong. I mean, I think that's definitely the harder example, but this was both of these and the elimination were really good examples of how like menial tasks can be made so stressful with pressure.
Yeah.
It's like, what's your name? Like, I don't know. My name's Dan. It's like, your name's not Dan. Right. You just
it's Daniel. It's Daniel. Okay. Let's move along here. The winners are Horacio, Kyland, and Big T with the win there. The next thing is, do we have any other thoughts on this before we move along, though? Because we're not going to go back to this after this anyway. So.
No, we don't have to go back to it. No further thoughts. I didn't really notice that they were, again, that's, I guess my final thought is it was totally hard to get any sense of who was going to win until they announced it.
That's why it's such, again, I mean, producers can do whatever the hell they want with this, but we won't have to harp on that. It is, hopefully they said they gave us the exact winners. I do have one more thing to say about it. And I want to talk about the Emmanuel pick. Everyone was like, oh man, this isn't a good move. How, I can't believe you would choose him. Like even Michelle said it. She goes, oh, this is such a bad move. This is going to come and bite you in the ass. I don't understand this. Anybody you pick, if they pick Callum, how is that also not a bad move that would bite you in the ass? Like Michelle was like, you shouldn't have picked Emmanuel. But however, if he got his way and he got to pick Callum, what would Michelle say there? Would she say, oh, that's great, my boyfriend's going home? Like, I don't understand what she meant by this. Please help me out.
I'm here to help, Dan. I'm the Michelle whisperer this season. I
can't stand Michelle, by the way. I can't stand Michelle.
I love Michelle. I just love her more and more.
I think when she's yelling baby to him during
God, tonight, that was painful.
I'm like, dude, this guy's got a girlfriend back home, Michelle. Could you be any more dense? Like, are you out of your mind? What are you calling him baby?
Well, I don't think she knows. I don't think she's honest.
Okay, she's calling him baby. She's known the guy for a week or two. Like, give me a break. Get out of here.
Okay. Sorry. Let me just
defend the other thing first.
Okay, first, what I would say is that what I took as the interpretation on that is that in his first season, wasn't he sent in a lot and he usually came back? I think it wasn't that they were saying bad move, because like he'll be mad at you. It was that he's probably going to win and then he's going to be mad at you. And so it wasn't that they were saying like he's not likely to lose. I think that was what the gist of the meaning was.
But why aren't people understand? People know the rules, Pamela, and the rules is he goes down there, someone else goes down there, and then he still might not even have to go in or against the. other person.
Horacio was saying it's too too soon. There's plenty of people whose name he would say and they would come back and be mad at him, and he's saying I don't care at this point. Whereas Emmanuel is not someone who I want to make an enemy out of right now, and I've been forced to do that. So I don't know who the weaker players are at this point, or who they're willing to say their names. I guess Corey they think is less valuable.
They said he wanted to do Callum, and like
well,
I think the backlash for anybody would have been,
of course, but I do understand. I think that the gist of it wasn't, of course someone's going to be mad. It's that Emmanuel is a good in a whatever elimination.
Well,
so back to defending Michelle.
I looked up his elimination record just before you defend Michelle, and his elimination record is 1-1. He's won one, he's lost one. So like, what are we doing here? It's not even that great. It's average. He's only been in twice.
So I think that, I remember that one that he lost to Devin, and Tori was trying to help them both. That was the big.
Yes, and they showed that one tonight as well when Devin came out. So
yeah. So to defend Michelle, this dude is, I mean, it looks literally like How to Lose a Guy, or the guy version of How to Get a Girl in 10 Days, like to just deal with anything, be like, I love you, perfect angel. Like, there's no way anyone likes anyone as much as Kellum loves Michelle. Like, I'm not even worried about not doing good. I'm just worried about screwing up in front of Michelle. It's like so ridiculous, but it obviously works for her. She's like, I've never felt so adored. To me, I watch that and I'm like, no one who really felt this way would act that way, because you'd be like making yourself such a tool. But it's like only Kellum, the biggest player in the world, who's cheating on his girlfriend, is just so comfortable admitting that he's head over heels gaga for Michelle. I feel like she is being played. I don't think it's her fault for like falling for it. I mean, he's obviously
a little bit like, can't we put some of the blame on her for falling for this crap?
I mean, if that's how he's acting in public about her, who knows what he's saying to her in private.
True that.
And again, she's dramatic and needy, and she admitted by her. She's like, I'm dramatic, I freak out. Having him as this like, you can do no wrong person there, this sort of yes man, both emotionally and game wise for her, is great. It levels her out. I think it's good. I mean, for her.
Just more reasons I find her annoying is what you just gave me there. So
I think sure, whatever works. You need a guy to
hey, look, I'm sure they're going to live happily ever after. So we'll watch the wedding live on MTV.
I mean, if those two kids can't make it, who can?
I know. And they're going to air that wedding live on MTV like they did for the big proposal.
I don't think they're going to make it. I don't even think they're going to make it past like his being gone for 3 days.
Speaking of not making it, CT and his girl, everything went through and they're finally fully divorced.
Yeah, which is good, I guess, because haven't they been like divorcing for 3 years?
It's been a mess forever from that poor guy. Yeah. Okay. I just had my last things there. I mean, revenge really happens is what I wrote with the Emmanuel thing. They're all like, oh, Emmanuel is gonna be mad, he's gonna come for you. And I just wrote, when's the last time we actually saw it pay off where Emmanuel got to come back at Horacio 3 episodes later? I don't buy into it. So when people get all mad, like, I can't believe you would put Emmanuel in, he's so good, like, dude, but the chances of him actually getting to do something is not gonna happen. So whatever.
We'll cross that bridge when we come.
Oh my God, I love this next part, Pam. I can't wait to talk this. They show the Americans, they show like Jay and Michelle and Raven's in there, and they're all talking like, we can't trust Corey. We can't trust this guy. And then Corey is supposedly in the next room listening to it. It's not, they made it seem like that, but it was such a bad edit. Like they show Corey walking into some room and supposedly they're in that exact room talking about him. I highly doubt that Corey was actually in the next room listening and then walked back out when they were done talking about him, and they never knew Corey heard all that. Come on.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
What a bad edit. Like, give me a break. I'm not buying that.
Yeah. The next thing that I have written, so can we move to the club? Are we at the club? Now,
Oh yeah, the club I think actually happens probably before that scene.
this
I
is
didn't
just
really.
mine's just another funny
Yeah,
moment that I thought that you were gonna say too, that I loved, was Melissa and Big T trying to recruit Ed.
yeah.
And him being like, yeah, we're like biker chicks, cool. And like they're all doing it.
And
And
let
then
me ask you that though. What the hell was the meaning behind the biker chicks? Does Ed ride bikes? Like, I don't get why that was funny.
I would think that he must, because he's like biker chicks. Like, I'm the biker and you're the chicks.
Right. I didn't get what that. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Don't know, wasn't explained. I don't know. We'll have to figure out. If you guys know, let us know. But I just was so great. The editing on this one was just beautiful. The way they're like, yay, cheers, la la
And,
la.
see, like, so people are mad at Corey for doing things like that, but Ed does it.
No, Corey, we'll get to Corey when we get to Corey. Very, very different than a conversation at a club where you go,
No,
yeah,
I
cheers,
understand
biker
that. My
chicks.
point is, no matter how it comes out that you were lying to somebody, everyone's lying. I'm not saying what Corey did was right or wrong. I'm just saying that everyone in this house is bullshitting people. Ed did it to the two girls there.
But Ed was very
Hilarious.
innocent. They said, what's he gonna say? No, I wouldn't work with you guys for anything, losers. Like, all he did was giggle and play along and like cheers and make a. He wasn't like,
My
yes,
point is though, is that anybody will be in an alliance if people think, like, if people want to be in my alliance, yeah, be in my alliance. Doesn't mean that you're really in my alliance. It's all kind of crap.
There's preliminary alliance discussion, and then there's like, are you having secret meetings? Are you making a plan together as a team? That's a real alliance.
Yeah.
If you're, yes. So are we ready to get to
do nominations? Do nominations. Callum and Emanuel are.
We have to. Michelle and Cullum have their date. What do you think of that?
We have to talk about that.
I don't have anything to say about it.
Michelle, at least it looked like Michelle and some of the other girls set it up, and the producers didn't like maybe didn't do the whole thing for them, like with the Casey and Nani thing. That one was totally producer set up.
The way I feel about, so that we're not
caterers did that one
against like the younger, the way that like some of the younger reality women look. To me, Kellum is also a perfect example of like, I get that he's for somebody, and somebody is looking at this dude going like, woo, oh my God. I am not that person. And even like Michelle being like, he checks every box. I want to bring him home to my family. I'm like, what boxes
what
are
box?
You right? Like, taken, yes. Like,
well, we don't know. That's the thing. She only has one. There's only one box. There's only one box on the page, and it's just he's taken, and that's the only box that's checked.
I guess he just tells her what she wants to hear day and night and night and day and day and night, because
look, obviously she finds him very attractive, and that is obviously blurring everything else about this dude. It just happens that way sometimes.
Obviously. But what my point was, that there is a guy and a girl version of this like modern day reality star look that both girl and guy wise, I'm like, I don't like, especially on Love Island. Some people still look normal on this, but when you see those people, guy and girl, it's like, I am a human specimen. And it's like, they're just so.
Look, only certain types of people are going to want to do reality TV.
But it's funny to me.
You're going to find that batch of people. It is what it is.
Right. I get it. I mean, I get that there's a match for those two looks. But again, I agree. It's like, I don't know. I don't get it. So it's hard to listen to his bullshit and take it in, because it's such bullshit, and without being like glam like a vampire would do.
Look, I'm not buying it for 1 second, but we're also privy to all the others. We've seen his confessionals where he literally, a producer asks him, do you have a girlfriend back home? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, but
it's complicated.
He loves Michelle, and that he likes Michelle better, and that he just doesn't want to break up with the girlfriend over.
Look, he's playing for $500,000, or he was, and you know what? You can say a lot of things that you might not mean for $500,000, and that might be one of them, because he knows damn well Michelle has a great social game with the American Alliance. So
yes,
there you go.
So on to Corey. Okay, we have to. This is like the best part of the show.
Please, you can start us off, because I'm just going to give my Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. One, I thought like, oh man, Corey, bold move. And I was like, okay, so everything about this was bold and crazy, and I loved it. So first of all, he doesn't know where he stands with his alliance. They're obviously not, this is not some plan that he had with his alliance. like
Correct.
that he was going to manipulate and use Big T and Melissa to get information.
That's
I
where
mean,
it falls off for me, right?
well, it falls off for everybody. I'm so glad. I love Nerys. I'm like, God, I'm with Nerys. Thank God. Nerys and Melissa both had great comments. Nerys is like, if you were, these were in their, alone comments.
Confessionals. Yeah.
Yeah, confessional. So Nerys is like, this is a good, I see where you're going with this. Like, oh, I'm going to clarify for the Americans that I'm totally with them.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this, but I feel like, wouldn't you have said something to them first? Like, guys, I've got this plan. I know you're up in the air about where I am, but I'm 100% with you. Like, he acted as though they needed him to prove it. And it's like, we don't care. We know we could have you.
Yeah.
We don't care. We don't really want you. And that was where I think Melissa was like, well, great. Do they know that? Like, do they know and care? They both had good comments. It failed. It was an epic fail, as the kids say, which was just so funny to watch because it's like, I see what you're sort of doing. Go big or go home or go both. But it was just so failed. It was like this big move that totally failed. So it was just so funny to see that because he thought it was going to maybe.
So a couple of things here, Pam. I think originally when he started this season, Corey wanted to work with both those alliances, okay? That's why obviously he didn't tell each alliance about each other. But now he's realizing when he's going through the show, well, the bigger alliance, which is the American alliance, and the safer alliance doesn't trust him. And he also realized that the other alliance is literally two girls. And he's like, I need to show my thing. And then that's why he does what he does. So that's the only reason he did what he did. It is what it is. But
absolutely. And the UK alliance isn't even a UK alliance. It's
no,
Melissa.
He was feeling it out. It's like when you're in the checkout. My Stacy and I do this a lot when we go to the checkout line. If there's not a self-checkout at a grocery store, we both stand in separate lines. And whatever one is starting to go, I'm like, okay, come here. Or I'm like, okay, go here. And we just go back just to get the hell out of there. That's what he was doing. That's an example of it.
Absolutely. I agree with you 1,000,000%. And I don't think he even made that call. I think that was like a game time decision to be like, and Big T and Melissa, I betrayed you. Like, it's like, what? He's like, yeah, call me a snake. That's what I did. I did it for my alliance. It's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was true at the time. I don't think that he had a master plan at all. I agree with you 1,000,000% that he was like, well, the Americans may be dumping me. I don't even think he came in wanting to play both. I think he was firmly and solidly in the American alliance until they kind of dumped him.
Clearly he had something going on that we didn't really get to see with him, Big T, and
well, they
Melissa,
showed conversations, just they were
conversations,
no, but where I don't know what alliance, but he has been hanging out with them and made a real friendship with them.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they were ever in some big master plan alliance again, but I actually did feel bad for Big T and Melissa because it was like, wow, what an asshole. Like, this is a big stunt. Like, you pretended real hard to be my friend.
Right. So this lead into the conspiracy then. What I was hoping they were going to show after nominations was this right here. Okay. And I'll explain the scene. It was going to be after everything goes down with Corey, they were going to show a flashback before nominations of Corey sitting down with Big T and Melissa saying, hey, look, I only want to work with you guys. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow up at you at the nominations and give away that we were working together. But we're still going to work together. But I'm just going to tell them, and you guys, I want you guys to get really upset by it and say, we're never going to work with you again. But after this whole thing, we're still going to work together, and I'll have an in with the Americans now because now they trust me for blowing it up with you, but I'm actually still working with you. Ultimate conspiracy. Didn't really happen. They would have showed it to us, but that's what I wanted them to show after. And I was like, that would have been a badass move by Corey. I thought that's maybe what they were doing. But
Dan, I wish that happened.
Me too.
That's exactly where Corey lacks in where he's got dramatic flair.
Right.
He lacks in actual follow through of, like, remember Cam's plan, how ingenious it was, and it was a fake out, throwing and a crying and just go with my lead. Corey is not Cam. So it's like, that would have been amazing. This was just Corey being like, well, if I'm going to go big, I'm going to go out swinging. Like, I don't even like you guys. Like, that's sort of what this was. It was like, oh, I guess I'm the name that's going to come up, my alliance, because you see him also saying like, if it was Nerys, if it was Jay, the alliance would be fighting for them. Your alliance is, you're not, that's not your
Now,
alliance.
with the plan that I just put out, not only is he safe with the Americans now, he's obviously, then he still technically could work with both sides.
No,
I
that
just
would
thought
have
that would have been
been,
amazing.
I do not think Corey is the mastermind he would like to see himself as, or we would like to see for good. Again, I think this was all game time decision. He's like, oh, it's me
Yeah.
on the houseboat.
Yeah.
No one's going to save me. I'm going to shoot some shots right now and see what happens. Just because, again, this is like his threatening to teach the girls a lesson for when he was mad that they were burning votes once a couple of times ago. He's like, I
Right.
might just teach the girls a lesson. It's like Corey gets these dumb ideas.
Yeah, that was not smart either.
The 11th hour.
I'm still super impressed about how jacked up he is. His arms are like the size of my head. He's got like big ass arms on him. So good for him in that regard. I would, in a strength competition, I would be very interested to see how he would do against like even like a Fessy, honestly.
I mean, Fessy's a monster, but I don't know. I feel like Corey never quite gets long enough to we actually really get to see him compete a lot. So I don't really know even.
Speaking of that, we can get to the arena next because he's going to be down there. Honestly, this part of the episode, this is the first time I laughed all episode out loud. I laughed multiple times, and it just goes to show you, everyone's like, oh, Dan, you love Devin so much. The dude comes in though for 15 minutes and he made me laugh out loud multiple times with the stuff that he was doing. It was even the commentary that he says later on about Mariah and Bananas. Oh my God, it was so freaking funny. But he also does this. He also called the newbies a bunch of L7 weenies. L7 weenies. And that is the only time I've ever heard that saying, Pam, is from the movie The Sandlot back in the 90s. They call him L7 weenie to the new kid that's not really good at playing baseball. So when he said that, I'm like, dude, who doesn't want to hear a good Sandlot reference? Because that's a fantastic movie from the 90s. So I don't know, he just comes in and he just blows me away with like, of course, here you go. Of course, they don't do a strength competition for Devin. It's got to be a mind game. They would never. That's the thing, too. The producers are going to put in the people with something they think that the vet is going to be good at. Like, they weren't going to make Devin do Jordan's competition. Well, Kaz was, we talk about Kaz. I mean, whatever. I don't think the producers cared if Kaz won.
No, I don't think
they want their like showstoppers like Jordan and Devin and Cara Maria coming in and CT. They're going to give them the advantage. I wouldn't be surprised if they talked to them ahead of time. Like, hey, what game do you want to see in there? Because let's work it around something that you're comfortable with because we want you to do well. And honestly, they want people to go home. They can't have everybody. They can't have all 20 of these kids in the finals. They need people to go home, Pam.
And it's funny, as much as we're talking about Jordan's appearance, as much as I don't like that guy, Kieran, I do want to see him back because I think he's good. I think he's really good, and I think
he could. Yeah, I think he's.
I think he's got potential. I'd like to see him potentially on the UK, like on the one that.
I honestly think producers were hoping that Asaf would have been chosen in that one and not Kieran, and it just worked out that Jordan pulled Kieran's thing instead.
I mean, I don't know, but then we did finally tonight find out what happens, and back to the Corey thing. It was such an epic fail that I just wanted him to complete the fail and go home.
Really? Okay.
It was funny, and that would have been a lot more satisfying to me. It's sort of like a Cam mastermind payoff, which we're not going to get it from Corey, I don't think. And if he is, then he's really fooling me about his genius because he likes to make bold moves that don't seem very thought out.
It's weird you say that though. Like, I don't know why. For me though, like I want Corey to stay. He's entertaining me, even though his moves are ridiculous. I'm like, oh, I still want to see what dumb thing he does next.
He's kind of a shield. For now, he's a guy shield in that they've said his name. Now he's sort of made enemies out of this. So coming back, it's like you pretended to care about me coming out. Like that's pretty fucked up. Like there's definitely the sort of.
That's not necessarily true though, Pam. He might have cared. He just was lying about being in an alliance with them.
He said, I'm in an alliance with them. I've been playing you guys. Like he wanted it to be even more dramatic than it really was. Like he really laid it on thick. I mean, it's not even as though they had some secret alliance too. He just basically wanted the Americans to stand up and say, Corey, we never doubted you for a second. Don't hurt our Corey, which was never going to happen. So Oh, Corey, it was just great. So
So what do
I
you think though,
I thought
Pam? What do you think of Devin getting to choose anybody he wants? Did you like that that's what the third option is? Do you like that or not?
no, I wanted it to be the pick. Oh, well, then they have to have the challenger compete. So I guess that doesn't make sense. I
I'll tell you what I want it to
prefer-
be after you tell me what you think.
well, didn't I say that it would be, but I didn't, I thought it was
You
going to
had
be,
that you brought this up the other week, so you were correct.
I didn't think though that it was going to be, which again wasn't thought through, that they could go against the challenger or anyone else they wanted.
And
I
I
thought that
said
was
that,
cool.
and I said, why not though? Because like they can go put on their outfit real quick. Like I said, they can do a timeout and get their stupid outfit
No,
on
but
and be
I
good to
thought
go.
not that it would be Devin or the challenger, the champ that chose, but the person that was picked. So Emmanuel was the one that was picked first, before the House nomination, before the one that the two
Oh,
people.
you were hoping
I
they
thought
could
maybe
pick.
they got to pick
Yeah.
who
And
they.
you know what, Pamela, I think that's a better idea. You know why? And I wrote this down. I think it's a little weird to have the guy that comes into the show or the girl that comes to the show out of nowhere, knows nothing about what's going on politically in the House, just get to pick some random person. I think that it also puts a lot, like if they do that, a lot of the rookies are going to be going in versus the other vets. Like Devin's not going to put in Jay. Like he's just not going to go
Right.
after Jay. So I didn't like that. And honestly, Devin doesn't know the drama's going on. However, I do think producers talk to Devin ahead of time and say, hey, just so you know, this person's dating this person doesn't like this person. I think they give him the heads up because he picked Callum for a reason. And I think the drama there, the chaos, is supposedly he's best friends with Michelle. Well, if you're best friends with Michelle, Devin, picking Callum's going to piss her off. Oh, wait, you picked Callum. More drama for the show. The producers must talk to him about that.
Michelle is really best friends with everybody too. It's like,
yeah,
boy, Michelle.
I agree 100%. How close are you really with Devin, Michelle? Give me a break.
Right. Very silly. So Devin comes out, we learn what that is. I didn't like it just because I don't like I know that there's no fairness in it, but it's not fair. It's like if I was Kella again, it's like what?
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
fair.
So you know what I think should have happened, right? I think
What?
if the third one is pulled, they have every game can be worked into having the three of them all compete at the same time. Okay. So if the third one's pulled, Devin would have to go against Corey
They each
and
get a shot to beat. Maybe
and
it's like
Emmanuel. No, not they all go at the same time. So if Devin gets first, so be it. But if Devin
it's
gets
just
second,
a contest.
it's
Like
a three-way
race.
contest. They're all working separately. So if Devin wins, so be it. They both go home. Watch out. If Devin gets second, whoever he beats go home and the other gets to stay. And if Devin gets third, they both stay. I think that's the way to do it.
I wish, Dan, that was X.
Isn't that fun? It's just fun.
It's not satisfying to just see someone's name get called and they go down and it's like Michelle telling about, and they did set up where Devin gave his reasoning, which was, I'm not going to pick anyone I know. So that was, the people we know. And then, so he picks Callum because he doesn't know him. Again, I agree. It seemed like, come on, do you really want us to swallow this? Like, I'm not buying what you're selling. Obviously, you guys have coached him to something. There's no reason for him to pick Callum. There's no reason for him to pick anyone. So it takes away the whole drama that's supposed to be. I
agree. That's why you're right, Pam. It should be up to Emmanuel, who was sent down there to choose someone because he's the one that was on the line.
Yes, then it should be them to go against Devin.
But that puts a disadvantage. But that puts a disadvantage for the vet, and the producers want the vet to do well.
They don't have as much.
They should. They want. That's their hometown hero. They need them to do well. Blah blah blah. But what I like about the idea of three of them having to compete all against each other is if Devin got second, he would still leave with $5,000 instead of the 10 because he got half of the guys. I just love the idea.
Producers, take notes. Yes.
Why are they why am I should be working this thing? I can come up with great ideas. It's
because this Devin picks was very like, so that's what the big twist is. That sucks. Yeah. I want someone that we got picked, that did something, that the whole episode was centered around to go in. I want that. They took away our payoff.
Here's the issue, Pam. It's a little more difficult because you have it set up for two people to play, and then you have to rework it for a third person to be able to play with them. But you know what? You guys, come on, screw it. Make it more interesting for us. Anyways, whatever.
I think that even in that scenario, there's a better way than it could have been. Devin, who do you want to go against these two, or do you want them to go against each other and you get the money? Like if you pick Corey to win or
That
something.
kind of
But
ruins the purpose of
so
the
that's
vet
just
coming
having
in,
a
though.
random person that didn't lose and didn't. So again, now the only way to be safe is to win, but which I guess ups the stakes. But it's like that third chaos is too random. It's like, well, then I guess it just is so random because
Well, it
depending
also, but it puts more value on the daily challenge win now because anybody could be eligible, right?
That is the only good thing, is that now winning is the only way you're safe, because
which I don't mind.
I don't mind that. I just don't like it. It's pretty unsatisfying because we've been waiting to find out. We finally find out, and it's like, okay, so Devin picks someone he doesn't know that we do or don't want to lose, and it's just random. It's too random for.
Well, that's what I wrote down, Pam. I wrote, the problem with this is that Devin has no ties or skin in the game, so it's not that like great of a, oh my god, I can't believe, like, he's good, whatever, But we talked enough about it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What did you think of the actual elimination? Because we've never seen something like this. This was a lot.
So back to menial tasks can be hard when you're stressed out. I also didn't, what the fuck was going on? So like there were cases with numbers of things in them.
Yes.
And you lined them up in top to bottom order.
In order from the least amount of things in the box to the top, but they also had to be correctly, like the number on each chest had to be correct. So you were off by 5, but it was still in the right order. You had to find which one was off by 5 and go back and recount the damn thing.
I don't, unsatisfying, the whole thing.
I can only imagine how long that freaking thing actually took, by the way. Like, they showed us like an abbreviated version, obviously, but I think it took so long, because if you mess it up, do you have to go back and count all goddamn 10 of them again?
Which one you did wrong? Yeah, probably.
Exactly. That seems like the worst game ever if you were to be in it. Like, and
not fun to watch. Again, it's like watching.
No, not fun to watch. No,
menial tasks under pressure is not at all fun for us. And then it's also not fun. And I don't know if it made Kellum look like an idiot on purpose, or it's just the way, but it's like, so Kellum end with the entire team at this point cheering for him and rooting for him, because everyone wants him to win because they get money and he's not really, no one's really against him. So the entire team, players, those people, not Devin, everyone but Devin is working with Kellum, and he still didn't win. It's just like,
but it's also so easy for the producers to make Kellum lose in this. Like, did Devin really count all those little scarf pieces and got it perfect? I don't freaking know. Like, it was so easy to manipulate this to make sure that a person went home tonight and that Devin got his money. So whatever.
I mean, sure. It just, that's why the whole thing, again, I don't like to feel, usually when they trick us or set us up and I don't notice, I'm fine with it. This is hearkening back to that, where I just feel like, do you think we're stupid? I don't remember what season it is, but where it's like, you can't just like have a challenge that doesn't really make any sense and declare the winner and have us like, you have to give us a little.
Isn't that the last few seasons, Pamela?
I think it's been the last few. And I overall really enjoyed this.
I was going to say, someone's going to write in the comments, wow, Dan and Pam said they liked the episode, and then went on to bash it for the next hour. Like, they're going to write that. They're going to write, Pamela pronounced Callum's name wrong the entire episode. She kept calling him Cullum. That's the person from that vampire movie, the Cullens.
He was in, yes, the Cullens. Those are the Cullens. But anyway, in this note, overall, I've been really enjoying the season and really enjoying it. That's why it's upsetting for this backslide. It's like, we're doing good. Really? You think we're just going to be like, okay? Not that I think they're lying straight up, but it's like, we want to understand how someone won. We don't want to watch a thing that there's no way we as a viewer could possibly comprehend it, and we just get announced the winner at the end. That's so not fun for a TV show. The same way someone, I think she was defending Melissa, Jemmy was defending Melissa. I just saw this, it came up like on Twitter. It was like, listen, Melissa's trying to make an entertaining TV show, guys. Like, I think she gets it. Not everyone's doing that. And I did agree with that. I feel like also we want to watch an entertaining TV show, and that involves both the social crap and the fighting and all that shit. And if you want us to give a shit about the winner, give us a little bit something that's something to find, or show us the time for each team as they go, because this is just like it could be a montage of juggling
and the winner.
exactly. It's
Well,
not
I
very
do want to
simple.
bring up, Devin's comment at the end where he says, and I'm pretty sure Mariah's banging that big guy over there, whatever he
That
says.
was funny.
Oh my, or that giant guy. She called him a giant guy, and I just got like the kick
I
out of
love it too because I still just think he's Hulk. I don't even know his
right,
name.
James. But James, he like that is so freaking funny that he said that. Now Devin's gonna go home and tell Bananas, like, are we gonna get a phone call between Bananas and Mariah later in the season? Like, please, you set it up right there with Devin saying something. Can you now set up, like, give me a, like, I would love cameras to follow Devin home and have him like having a conversation with Bananas, like expand the world, expand the challenge world, and then have Bananas
We
call
need
Mariah. Like,
to
do
we
it.
need to see follow up on that because there's also we need to listen to podcasts or go on social media because Bananas definitely has pie in his face now. Because at first,
But
when
that's
it
why
came
I'm saying
out,
have Bananas call her on the
no,
show.
but
Like, let's do this.
the reason he has pie on his face is the opposite of it's not that he was just mad and it became a thing. He pretended he didn't care. And that, remember?
Okay.
So in real life, Wes was, I think, the first to be like, pretty sure they're not in an exclusive relationship. And Bananas was like, oh, people using my name on TV for clout wouldn't be the first time. When it turns out that in real life, so first of all, now we have Devin saying, I don't know how Bananas is going to feel about that. So that's validating that there's something to care about, whether he's crying in his pillow or not, or whether it's just his ego. Finding out that way is like, I'm sure Bananas is a person that can dish it and can't take it. And I'm sure he doesn't care, but he also doesn't want to be embarrassed on TV about
Right.
some girl that's supposed to like him. I see it all very clearly. I don't think Bananas.
I mean, but Bananas, he's been doing this for so long. He gets reality TV. If you watch him on House of Villains, I don't know if he'll win the.
There hasn't been a new episode in like a month. What the
Well,
hell's
because
going on?
I think it's because of Thanksgiving.
I know, but I'm like, last episode.
I'm ready.
Like,
No, there should be one out this week. I assume this week.
Yeah.
But like, you can just tell, like, he gets this, how this. I mean, he might not win, but he gets
does.
how this works, and he can dish it. He's taking some shit too. People are giving him a hard time on there, and he's comes up with some great
shit,
stuff back.
So in real life, for those of you who don't know, Mariah posted. This is all social media drama. So at first, when he found out, he like unfollowed her and everything. And then when people were like, oh, calling it out that he was like hurt by it, he like played it off and refollowed her. And now has been playing it off like, oh, I don't care, who cares? But it's like, well, you cared enough to like unfollow her and do all those things.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to get a big response, but I don't think it's ridiculous that I'm back to where I said it before, where no, I'm sure she's the Padawan learner. Bananas is the king in this situation. And Mariah's the 1 season rookie girl who's like, I don't want to disrespect Bananas like in life. And I get it. I get that. I don't think she thinks he's so upset that she would ever do anything. But no, it's a slap in the face to him to be publicly cheated on by some girl that's supposed to be wrapped around the foot. Whatever. I feel like I understand it all. Like his ego can't take it. I don't think he's so hurt, loves Mariah. Yeah, they've been boning for a year. I don't think
there it is. You nailed Pamela. Yeah. There it is.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's funny. But now she's boning someone else and Banana no likey. So for his ego, not because he loves Mariah.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up.
I guess that wraps it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so what we'll do is we will join y'all next week for another fantastic episode 8 next week. And we're already so far into the season. Fantastic. For Pamela and Dan, I'm Dan. We're gonna talk to you next week. Pam, any final thoughts? Anyone want to shout out to anybody? Say hi.
I do. I have a final thought. Thank you, everyone. We love you for being with us. And my final thought is, yeah, all the voting and stuff that they have to do and the picking and Horacio apologizing in these past 2 episodes, since it wasn't that person, becomes totally null. So like that's where they're losing us, I think, in this. There's too many steps involved in getting to that person that they vote in for them not to be. They should be the drawer then, and it should be them or the champion.
Well, they're not going to change it now, like, Pamela. But
they're not going to change it now. But
Horacio got the guy he wanted in there and got him to go home,
and then nothing happened. So then we get Emmanuel and Corey and all that's what the whole episode's leading up to, and then none of them go in.
And now how mad can Emmanuel really be at him now? Like,
didn't cost anything, didn't cost
I know.
anyone anything.
I
Yeah.
know.
So that's where they're taking away. They're not doing great with this next level with chaos is a little bit of a skull on the cap version where it's like, and you have to get a skull, but not really, or you don't do, it's not entirely, they need to fine tune this one.
All right, we'll leave it at that. We'll see y'all next week. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure you comment in that comment section. We love those comments.
Thank you.
Bye.